How much do teachers make in each state in the United States? How does your state compare to other states? I'm going to show you a couple different articles, and I've left these articles in the description so that you can see. This is from NEA.org. Now, what I really like is this. All right, so you can click on each state and see what they make. So let's start with like a big state like California. They give you the average teacher starting salary, the average teacher salary, so that's everybody, first year teacher, veteran teacher with a master's degree. They are number 1 in the nation, and for starting salaries are number 2 in the nation. The teacher pay gap, so I came over here, and that's compared to other college-educated professionals with similar experience. Minimum living wage, income needed for family of 1 adult and 1 child to have a modest but adequate standard of living in the most affordable metro area. Okay, and then per student spending, they're 17th in the nation. So here we go. They pay teachers number 1 in the nation, but their per student spending is 17th in the nation. Average K through 12 earnings. Let's see. Average ESP, average higher education earnings. And average higher faculty salaries, so that'd be like admins, number 1 in the nation. But the cost of living is very high in most places in California, especially the big places like LA and San Francisco and San Diego. So keep that in mind. New York, average teacher starting salary, $50,000, 13th in the nation, but average teacher salary is $95,000. Now, why I think there's a big gap is because New York City, obviously the cost of living is very high. They pay teachers more. I hear most teachers make over $100,000. And there's more people in New York City. So the average teacher salary is averaging the amount of people, whereas the average teacher starting salary is the average of all the counties. So the lower paying counties, and there's probably more of them. I know in upstate New York, because I have family that lives there, there's a very low cost of living and teacher salaries are a lot lower. I actually know a retired teacher from there. So that's why I think there's a huge gap between the starting salary and the average overall teacher salary for the whole state. Teacher pay gap is 84 cents. Minimum living wage, that's an average. So they're averaging the people in the small podunk upstate New York towns with the people in the city. So keep that in mind as well, if that seems either high or low, depending on where in New York you live. Per student spending, they spend a lot on their students. Now, what I would like to see is how are the students doing? If they're spending that much, if they're number 1 in the nation on spending money on students, does that equate to how students are doing? How well educated are they? So higher ed faculty, 104,000, 19th in the nation. So there's kind of a gap between what they pay their teachers and what they pay admin. Again, this is an average though, and there are less admin per school. There are many teachers in a school and 1 or 2, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on where you are, admin. So again, if you're averaging the middle of nowhere towns with a low cost of living with New York City, that's where we're going to get in the average. Okay, let's do some other states. I'm going to do my state of Virginia. Average teacher starting salary, 48. Average teacher salary, 66. So I'm going to show you another article in a minute, which is going to highly contradict this, and I will tell you why. Okay, average per student spending, 22nd in the nation, but the teacher salary is 26, so it's about the same. Higher ed is 112, so they pay the admins quite a bit, especially compared to the teachers. Now, I know because I live here, the counties that are very close to Washington, D.C. have a high cost of living, and they're going to pay teachers more. If you're in, let's say, the Southern Virginia, especially Southwestern, they're going to pay the teachers a lot lower, and the cost of living is a lot lower. I'm going to do a couple more. Let's do some controversial teacher states. There's been a lot going on in the news in Texas, so let's see this. Now, this is a huge state, so keep that in mind. This is an average out of many counties, probably paying very different. The average starting salary, 48. Average teacher salary, 62. The teacher pay gap is 76. Higher ed admins, 101. I want to do Florida, and then I'm going to move on to another article. All right, average teacher starting salary, 48. That was the same as Texas. Average teacher salary, 54. That's less than 50th in the nation. Whoa. 50th in the nation for teacher salary. So the lowest average teacher salary, 78% teacher pay gap. Minimum living wage is 61, so the average teacher salary is below the minimum living wage. And average, of course, that means there's a lot of people that make a lot less than that. Okay, the admins make 107, 13th in the nation. Texas salary is supposed to be going up significantly in 2026, 27. Okay, good to know. This is study.com, and no, it's not sponsored. Study.com used to sponsor me, but I'm using them because they have the information I need. Okay, so this chart here is pretty complicated. I'm gonna just leave it on the screen so you can look at it. Break this down, 10th percent, 25th, annual medium. Anyways, I also left the links in the description if you want to go look at this in detail. The bugs are wrong. Okay, so I thought that this was interesting. Highest paid states for teachers. Now, this goes along with some of the ones we were just looking at. So California and New York, both also high cost of living states, 92 and 91,000. And this is an average with the whole state, like I was just talking about with New York. There's some very small towns in New York that don't pay as much, and then you have New York City, but California as well. Washington State, Massachusetts, and Connecticut are the top 5. So I thought this was interesting. Even the lowest paid teachers still make more than the highest paid teachers in South Dakota. The 5 highest paying states based on annual mean salary. So the above states are the only places where the median salary is above 80,000. Also, keep in mind cost of living. The cost of living in South Dakota is a lot lower. So I wish we kind of could compare teacher salary with cost of living. Okay, so down here, teacher salaries increase over time as teachers, let me highlight what I'm reading, learn their crafts and become master teachers. There's also variation in pay levels based on where in the state the teachers live. Yes, key point. There's also variation based on where in the state teachers live. Very, very true. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I commute 40 minutes just for a better paying school district and county. And the other surrounding county, also 2 surrounding counties being mine and another one, there's a lot of teachers that commute to this county. And like I was saying, very different in my state from the teachers who live in Northern Virginia, right next to DC, as opposed to Southwestern Virginia. So, and I'm sure it's the same in Texas and Florida. How much funding a particular school district receives and more. The 5 highest paying states based on what they pay the 90th percentile of teachers are. So the top in the 90th percentile. Look at this, Virginia. Even though, hold on, I'm going to stop share and go back to the other one. So look at this for Virginia. It said the average starting salary is 48. The average teacher salary is 66. Now let's go back. So despite those being the average salaries, it has Virginia in the 90th percentile for teachers. So just means they have a wide teacher scale. The higher you get as a veteran teacher with a master's degree, you're going to make more. So Virginia is number 1 for teachers in the 90th percentile for pay. So I thought that was interesting. Then New York, then California, then Oregon, and Washington. This is exactly what I was saying. Teachers are more likely to be paid more if they live in high-income urban centers and if they have significant experience in the teaching profession. And living and working in these states is by no means a guarantee you as a teacher will make a certain amount of money. These are averages. So, and their median salary is this, meaning fewer teachers actually reaching those higher. All right, let's talk about the lowest paid states for teachers. South Dakota, Mississippi, West Virginia, North Carolina, and Arkansas. Let me know if anyone lives or has lived or has taught in any one of these states. Guessing the cost of living is a lot less in these states. I know it is in West Virginia and South Dakota. North Carolina, I've heard that they make a lot less because they are a neighboring state to mine. And I've heard a lot of people move from there to Virginia just to make more. Average and top salaries. Top paid teachers in North Carolina and South Dakota, for instance, only make $10,500 more than the median, whereas top paid teachers in Oregon and New York can make almost $40,000 more than their peers who earn the median. So I have also heard, it doesn't say in this article, but in North Carolina, they don't give you more money for a master's degree. So that is crazy. I just got a master's. I'm about to get a pay bump. I'm excited about that. But some states don't pay more for a master's. So that would not incentivize anyone to want to get a master's. Although teachers in these states do not make as much money as other teachers around the country, they also typically experience a lower cost of living. Yes, I said that too. So, and then these are, nonetheless, some states have lower salaries even for experienced teachers based on what they pay in the 90th percentile. So these are the 90th percentile of teachers in these states. South Dakota, North Carolina, Mississippi, West Virginia, and Louisiana. Pretty similar to the above of the average mean salary. Some of the states cross over to both, like South Dakota and North Carolina and West Virginia. Teaching in a specialized area can also impact your salary, such as special education teachers who have special skill set, according to BLS special education. So high school special education teachers, this is the average. It's on the screen. I won't read it to you guys. Middle school, preschool, and kindergarten. Okay, so I will say they don't pay a different salary where I am for special education teachers. Like a year one, teacher one salary is the same. But what they do is they do give out bonuses for special education teachers. So if you count the bonuses, yes, they do make more money. But that is a bonus or a stipend, so it's not factored into, let's say, your retirement and that kind of thing. So, you know, everyone gets the same base salary, but with the bonuses, you can get paid more. So what's the average salary in America? The mean salary is $58,000, up from $51,000 in 2020. This is higher than the national mean, but lower than the bottom 25th percentile of teachers. Interesting. People who are not into teaching don't know this, but a year one, step one, teachers with a bachelor's and the other, comparing another teachers to have a bachelor's degree, is the same. Whether you're a high school chemistry teacher, a preschool special ed teacher, a kindergarten teacher, so there's a salary scale. If anybody lives where they maybe pay math teachers more or special ed teachers more, let me know. And if you're watching later, let me know how your state ranked. If I wasn't able to go through all 50 states, so go to that one NEA.org where you could click on the state and see, and then let me know in the comments how your state ranks. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming here live, Holden and Melissa. See you guys later. Bye.